At society, Holden tells Audra to move on, but of course, she pulls up a chair to needle Clare, who is sloppy and spills her drink. Audra mocks Holden for still using the old Vesper pickup line and wonders what Kyle would think of this. Realization dawns, and Audra guesses Clare knows the truth and dumped the cheater, Kyle. Clare slurs, "Go away!" Audra teases that she ran into Kyle earlier. Clare calls her a hateful, miserable bitch and denies she dumped him. Audra, highly amused, wonders what Kyle would think about their little date. Holden protests that they're just friends. Clare tells her they were just discussing what joke she is. Audra needles that Kyle was close to kissing her again tonight, and Clare, lolling across the bar, asks if she ever gets tired of lying. Audra tells her Holden stayed in town because of her too. Clare wonders where Nate is. She's all alone. Does he think she's as pathetic as the rest of them do? Audra lunges toward her, and Holden intervenes. Clare slurs that she can fight her own battles, as Audra recalls she tried to poison the entire Newman clan. Maybe Kyle needs to open his eyes and not the other way around. Clare lurches to her feet and adopts an appropriately sinister expression. "Maybe you're right," she intones. "Maybe I'm the dangerous one. Maybe you need to watch your back." Holden tries to peel Clare away from Audra, and after a few more insults, he's successful. At the ranch, Nikki greets Victor dressed in a floor-length red gown. It's his turn to be surprised and spoiled. Pouring some non-alcoholic bubbly, Nikki toasts to the love of her life. Victor, eating his dinner, needed this respite from the storm. They go over their recent trials, and Nikki reminds her husband he tried to come between Kyle and Clare, and they have Cain hanging over their heads. Victor is ready for him. He doesn't know who he's dealing with. Nikki tries to compare Kyle and Clare's love to their own, but Victor's not having it. Urging him to eat the last oyster, Victor discovers a ring in it. Nikki never dreamed she would live a life like this, but he made it possible. Victor tears up. Nikki reminds him of his gift to her on their first Christmas. She wants him to feel the same way and pulls out a present. Victor unveils a new leather coat. Victor tells his wife he loves this evening, but he admits he's suspicious that she's doing this to make sure he doesn't go after Kyle anymore. He assures her that his mind is on Cain Ashby. He's trying to figure out what he's up to and how to take advantage. Nikki learns that Colin swindled Madame de Leon. Cain may be complicit, and it could ruin what's left of his reputation if he doesn't do what Victor wants him to do. Cuddling, Victor assures Nikki that he'll one-up her. She has no doubt. Recalling a romantic memory, they slow dance and kiss as they flash back. On the Cain train, he pours drinks and thanks Michael for coming. They debate whether it was a smart move. After rehashing Cain's disastrous return, Michael accuses him of liking chaos and manipulating the flow of information to stir up trouble. Cain asks, "What do you want?" Michael hedges, answers. Why did he invite him and Lauren to Nice? Cain laments not being able to reveal his intentions as planned. Simplifying, Michael asks why he invited him there tonight. Turning the tables, Cain asks why Michael came there tonight. Michael shrugs about satisfying his curiosity. Cain needles that he's out of job. Michael counters that he's retired. Cain isn't buying it. He loves the game too much. His skill set should be used. He admits he wants to hire Michael as a fixer. He checks all the boxes. Cain doesn't blame the attorney for walking away from Victor, who didn't return his loyalty. Cain's sure that under the right circumstances, Michael might return to the work he loves. Michael realizes he invited him to Nice to see where things stood between him and Victor. If that's the case, he's not interested. Cain asks Michael to put his phone number in his contacts and promptly texts him an offer he may not be able to refuse. Michael wants to know what he'd be doing. Has a crime occurred? Is that what you need me to help fix? Cain, of course, can't divulge anything until he has attorney/client privilege, but teases that his offer is just a starting point. At Crimson Lights, Holden asks Esther to bring him and Clare coffee. At their table, Clare recalls blasting Audra and laughs before deciding she shouldn't have gotten into it with her. As the blonde groans, Holden assures her Audra deserved everything she threw at her. Clare wishes she could forget about her past. Holden tries to reassure her. Clare blurts, I tried to kill people. Stunned, Holden rallies. Clearly you got the help you needed. He says they've all made mistakes. Clare fishes. Like what happened in LA with Audra. She bets it's pretty bad, maybe even illegal. His expression tells her she's right. Holden wants to forget his past too. Clare won't give up. She needs something to shut Audra up for good. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. Here's your The Young and the Restless recap for Wednesday, September 3rd, 2025. An excited Billy talked to Jack on the phone about the Abbott Communications launch. Billy promised his big brother more than a return on his financial investment. Jack thanked Billy for including Jabot items in the goodie bag. Sally entered and drew her attention to Billy after sending a text about the party. She told him that despite a few minor issues, the party is all set. Billy told Sally there was nothing to worry about as she'd worked so hard at the party. Billy handed Sally a copy of the Genoa City Chronicle that he had done up. Sally was unfamiliar with it. Billy said Sally should know about it. A story in the Chronicle raved about Abbott Communications. Billy complimented Sally on her redecorating skills that she used on his home. He said a friend of Johnny's raved about the place too. Billy said something was missing. He showed Sally the newspaper again and asked her to turn to the society section. Sally read, Media tycoon Sally Spectra, head of Abbott Communications, is reportedly moving in with Chancellor Industries CEO Billy Abbott in the coming days. The item went on to say that Billy adores Sally. Billy said he could confirm that Mr. Abbott does indeed adore Sally Spectra. He asked her if she wanted to move in together. Sally asked Billy if he were serious. He quipped, yeah, because it's been reported on. It's definitely what I want, Billy said. Sally recalled that when they came together, it was when they'd been hurt. Sally said that the last few times she moved in with someone that it didn't end well. Billy said those other times had nothing to do with Sally. Billy said he missed Sally when she wasn't there. Sally said she loved being there with him, but she didn't want to get in the way of the kids. Billy said he wanted to talk to Sally first, but his kids adore her. Sally said adoring her and having Sally live with their father was different. Sally said she was surprised by Billy's suggestion and that he put it in a fake newspaper. Billy said they could wait till after the launch. Sally and Billy moved to the bedroom and began undressing as they continued to kiss. They continued to make out with the sheets wrapped around them. After lovemaking, Sally said she'd outdone herself. Billy said she sure had. Sally clarified she meant with the redecorating. Sally wondered if living together and sharing work was the best idea. What if they had conflicts over Abbott Communications or Chancellor Industries? Sally said she was scared. Billy confessed to being scared too. He said he wanted to take the risk because he cared about Sally. Billy said that they get stronger by the day and that Sally moving in is where things change for the better. Sally said her first business with the new decor would be to frame the newspaper he got her. Billy asked if that meant she was accepting his invitation to move in. Sally said it was. She was sure. Clare and Holden walked into society and sat at the bar. Clare ordered 2 Vespers. She told Holden she didn't want to be a bad influence on him. Holden said he was fine. Clare said she was up for 4 drinks. She told him she just wanted to let loose. What's to stop me? Clare asked. Holden urged Clare not to inhale her Vesper. I don't want you overdoing it, he said. Clare said she didn't need a protector or a babysitter. He promised not to mess with her vibe. Holden said he was her friend. Clare didn't want anyone telling her how to feel. Holden gently probed that something was upsetting Clare. Clare said, let's talk about you and Audra in Los Angeles. She wanted to know what truly happened. Nate responded by saying that he wasn't expecting that question. Clare said she could read people, and she sensed there was more to Audra and Holden's past. He said they saw each other in Los Angeles. She asked what he learned about her. Clare wanted to know what she was dealing with in terms of Audra. Clare confessed that Kyle shared with her what happened in France with him and Audra, and about Victor's scheme. Clare said Audra got caught, so she's angry and vengeful. She wanted to know how far Audra would go. Clare said now that Audra isn't working with her grandfather anymore, the gloves and the wheels have come off. Clare said that if Nate had broken up with Audra, then she might feel she had nothing else to lose. Holden theorized Audra wouldn't do anything physically dangerous, but she was unpredictable. He advised Clare to stay away from her. Clare said she wasn't afraid of Audra Charles. Holden asked Clare if she wanted to get back into the ring. Clare said she wasn't afraid of Audra. She suspected that Audra would burn the house down to make a point. Holden suggested Clare play defense instead of offense. Holden asked Clare about her doubts about Kyle. Clare said Kyle confessed that he had kissed Audra in France. She said that Kyle apologized for not telling Clare about the kiss earlier. Holden asked if Kyle's plan to fix things was working. Clare said the Vespers were working better. Holden said he could handle Audra if Clare needed her to back off. Meanwhile, Kyle went jogging in Chancellor Park, where he ran into Audra, who was also exercising. She cautioned him that there were some things he'd never be able to run away from. Audra noted that Kyle got extra touchy when she brought up Clare's name. Kyle asked Audra why she was trying to goad him. She said it's because it was so easy. Kyle wondered if being with Tucker had distorted Audra's humanity. She turned the tables, accusing him of being attracted to him. Kyle asked Audra if she were interested in him. Was the seduction in France just a plan with Victor? Audra said that she was upset about Damien being murdered. Audra pointed out that there were 2 people on that train. Kyle said it made him sick that he pretended to be interested in her. Audra pushed back. Kyle wished that Nate had dumped Audra. Kyle asked where Nate was and why Audra was alone. Audra countered she wasn't alone, but in fact, she was with Nate. He asked how this ended for her. Audra said she would rise like a phoenix. Kyle countered it was more like a vampire. Audra said this won't end well for Kyle and Clare. Kyle threatened to destroy Audra if she didn't back off. Audra wasn't impressed. Kyle pointed out that he had Victor on his side now. He said that Victor claimed his efforts against Kyle were a test, one that he passed. Audra accused Kyle of using Victor as a shield. "Don't make me come after you," Kyle told Audra before walking away. Later, Kyle returned home. He was out of breath from running. Jack asked Kyle how his run was. Kyle said he ran into Audra. He wasn't sure what else there was to say. Kyle said he hadn't heard from Clare yet. Jack wondered if Clare needed to sleep on things. Kyle wondered if Clare would ever realize that Kyle didn't mean to hurt her. Jack said Clare will have to come to that on her own. Jack advised Kyle not to try to fix things right away. Jack said Kyle could call Clare in the morning, apologize, and tell Clare how he felt. Kyle said he was worried if Clare was left alone for too long, she'd realize she was better off without Kyle. Jack said he believed that he and Clare can work this out. Kyle wondered how he could get through to Clare. Maybe if he drove Audra out of town? Kyle said he would try. Meanwhile, Clare said she'd love to smack the smug smile off Audra's face. Holden said Audra plays dirty. Clare said that Holden didn't know her past. Clare pushed for more details on what happened in Los Angeles. Audra, now wearing a red dress, walked into society. She called seeing Clare and Holden together as cozy. Clare glared at Audra. Abby disappeared among the high hedges on Cain's property during the Dumas story on The Young and the Restless. Now, her portrayer, Melissa Ordway, is sharing that she's back in Genoa City, and she has an important question she's asking the show's fans. Abby Newman, Abbott Winters and Friends, Ordway posted on Instagram, along with photos from the set of herself and Brighton James, Billy Flynn, and Amelia Heinle. The fan favorite also posted a picture of herself with Cameron Grimes from outside the studio. In her post, Ordway asked her followers and fans of the show to weigh in on which character they'd like to play on Y&R. The answers may surprise you. Abby Newman Abbott Chancellor Winters will always be iconic, wrote @HannyKathleen. There was support for the angst-ridden Mariah from @Sandra9304Fear, who added 3 heart emojis to her post touting the redhead. "Love her," Ordway replied. Speaking of Grimes and her Genoa City alter ego, @CherryHeaven asked about Ordway's co-star, as their photo in the actress's post does not appear to be taken on set. "We went to lunch on an off day, and she was on set another day," Ordway explained. "Of course, Nikki Newman, the queen of daytime," exclaimed @23PoisonIvy. Added @LoveOjazz. "Love all your guys, but I'll admit I'm partial to the new Cain. He's bad in a good way. Nikki, responded @DebbieReggianti, so I could hang with Eric Braden Victor. I met him once when he was touring with his book, and he was great. I love Tessa and Abby, shared @the YR Addiction, and I miss their friendship and your photos with her. I cannot believe you took off Abby. She's a Newman, and you're getting all these new people, which I love them too. But come on, Abby, should have never been taken off, wrote @MaryJoanne. @LunaBlossom614, another champion for Ordway and Abby, posted, You need to come back full-time. You are missed. Ordway splits her time between Los Angeles and Nashville, where she resides with her family. Her husband, Justin Gaston, is known to soap fans for his turn as Ben Weston on Days of Our Lives. He also stepped in to play Chance on The Young and the Restless a few years ago when Abby and Chance were married in the Chancellor family mansion. The Young and the Restless recap for Thursday, September 4th, reveals that Clare Newman will seek illegal dirt on Audra Charles, while Cain Ashby pitches the idea of Michael Baldwin being his fixer. On Cain's train, he'll meet with Michael and wonder if his retirement was more about getting out from under Victor Newman's boot. Michael will question Cain about the reason for this meeting, so Cain will come clean about needing a fixer to help him. Since Michael knows how to do things off the grid and isn't afraid to get his hands dirty, Cain will want to make him a loyal member of his team. Michael will be wary and nearly walk out of this meeting until Cain texts him the starting salary. That'll keep Michael's attention, but he'll wonder if a crime has occurred, considering Cain's willing to pay that kind of money. Michael will want to know what exactly he'd be fixing, but Cain won't divulge that until attorney-client privilege is in full effect. Although Michael won't commit to taking the job, Cain will point out that he isn't saying no either. All Cain will ask is for Michael to consider his generous offer, which is just the start. At Society, Audra will realize Claire's had a few drinks, so she'll take some jabs about that and assume Holden Novak using the same old Vesper shtick he uses with all his women. Clare will call Audra a bitch more than once during this conversation, but Audra will keep at it and will play up her moonlight encounter with Kyle Abbott. After Clare taunts Audra about her failed career and losing Nate Hastings, Audra will lunge at her. It'll be Holden who grabs Audra and stops this from becoming a physical confrontation. Audra will also mention Claire's poisoner past and suggest that at least she's not pathological like Clare is. Clare will get in Audra's face and basically warn that she might indeed be dangerous if Audra doesn't back off. Afterward, Holden will take Clare for coffee at Crimson Lights so she can sober up. Holden won't blame Clare for giving as good as she got with Audra, but Clare will want a way to get the upper hand. Clare will push Holden to reveal what happened with Audra in LA, since she'll assume it involved something illegal. Holden will be reluctant to open up about his shady past, but Clare will act like it makes him more interesting. At the ranch on Thursday's Y&R episode, Nikki Newman will surprise Victor with a romantic night full of reminders from their past. Victor will reminisce with Nikki and give her updates on his knowledge of Colin Atkinson's final swindle, which he'll hint about Cain being complicit in. If that son of a bitch doesn't do what Victor wants, Victor will insist Cain's reputation is going to get even worse. Victor will eventually share a dance with Nikki as they celebrate their love, so plenty of sweet moments are coming up for these two. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that heartbroken Noah Newman could fall into Audra Charles's next trap. Will Noah come home single and vulnerable to his manipulative ex? Y&R fans will recall that Noah had an intense yet toxic romance with Audra once upon a time. Noah eventually moved on with the far sweeter Ali Nguyen, but their relationship could be headed for trouble too. Now that Lucas Adams has been announced as a Noah Newman recast, fans are eager to see what's in store for the character. Adams will make his debut as Noah this fall, so what will he be up to when he hits the screen? Considering Noah and Audra's history, they'll surely share scenes at some point. That could open the door to disaster if Noah proves too weak to resist Audra's seduction. It's easy to imagine Noah coming home devastated after splitting from Ali. Although Ali and Noah have made their romance last during their time overseas, it may come to an end for plot purposes now. Perhaps Noah could find himself stuck under Audra's spell once again. Audra might latch onto Noah as someone familiar and could perhaps use him to prove to herself that she still knows the art of seduction. Of course, Audra might find other ways to use Noah to her advantage as well. Maybe Audra could view Noah as her ticket to achieving her business goals, since he's got plenty of Newman connections. Victor Newman certainly won't approve if Noah is pulled back toward a viper like Audra. But Audra may be smug enough to think she can handle the heat. Audra might even plot to get pregnant by Noah and deliver a Newman heir, which could secure her protection and cushy perks. Since Audra previously claimed to have miscarried Noah's baby, she might decide to revisit this pregnancy idea and make a new baby happen. Whatever the case, Audra could seduce Noah and make him her victim once he's back on screen this autumn. If Noah is down in the dumps after a split from Allie, that could make him even more susceptible to Audra's trap. Fans of The Young and the Restless, get ready, because Genoa City may soon be shaken by a storyline that has all the makings of a soap opera classic. It's been a while since we've seen a pregnancy plotline that left everyone reeling, and while Sally Spectra's tragic loss was heartbreaking, the next baby bombshell could change the game in ways no one saw coming. This time, all eyes are on Clare Newman. After her complicated romance with Kyle Abbott took another sharp turn, it looks like Clare's pain may lead her straight into Holden Novak's arms. And from there, a one-night stand could spark a storyline filled with betrayal, guilt, and a shocking paternity mystery. It all starts in the September 2nd episode, when Kyle popped the big question. What should have been a romantic moment turned sour fast? Clare pushed back, telling him he was moving way too quickly. And in a pointed jab, she even tossed out a sarcastic question. "What's next, Kyle? Starting a family?" He tried to laugh it off with a joking, "Not yet." But savvy fans know when dialogue is more than just dialogue. Soap writers love to drop breadcrumbs, and this might have been the biggest clue of all. As Clare reeled from her shattered engagement, she turned to Holden for comfort. And after too many drinks, one thing led to another. What began as a moment of vulnerability could soon become a life-altering twist. Imagine Clare waking up days later, battling morning sickness, only to realize the impossible has happened. She's pregnant. But the real drama? Who's the father? Kyle, who truly loves Clare and believes he's about to become a dad, or Holden, whose one-night connection with Clare could destroy everything? Clare, of course, desperately wants Kyle to be the father, but deep down, she knows the truth may not be so simple. And when Victor Newman learns his granddaughter is carrying a child that ties her to the Abbotts, or worse, to Holden Novak, viewers can bet the fallout will be explosive. Kyle, meanwhile, may celebrate the baby news, unaware of the storm brewing behind the scenes. Holden won't take Clare's word for it. He'll demand a paternity test, and eventually Clare will be forced to confess everything, unraveling secrets that could break hearts and shatter alliances across Genoa City. Young and the Restless spoilers for Septi 8/12/2025. See Audra Charles being unhinged and Victor Newman on the warpath. As we always do on Early Edition Day, we talk about what's coming the rest of this week, and then we're going to dive into next week. On Wednesday, September 3rd, Kyle Abbott and Audra are out jogging and run into each other, taunting each other and flinging insults. She's also insulting Clare Grace Newman, and Kyle says, "Keep her name out of your mouth." Audra claims Kyle is mad because he is hot for her, and he retorts that Audra is the one who wants him. We all know where arguing leads on soap operas. I think these two are going to be back in bed way too soon, but we'll see. Kyle mocks Audra, saying she's lost everything. Meanwhile, Kyle says Victor has changed his mind and is now on his and Clare's side. But Audra thinks he's lying. I also think Victor's lying. Jack Abbott and Kyle talk about his Audra showdown once his son is back at the Abbott mansion. Kyle is worried because Clare walked out on the proposal and has not been in touch. He really doesn't want to leave Clare alone and be patient because he's scared he's going to lose her. Kyle says if he can make Audra leave town, then Clare will see how dedicated he is. This is his next grand gesture. Billy Abbott talks to Jack on the phone and says Sally Spectra is killing it with AbbottCom, and the 50s-themed launch is going to be amazing. They end the call as Sally comes in and tells Billy she's excited but nervous. He shows her a newspaper mock-up, a fake newspaper he had made that talks about how successful Sally is. It also includes news on the society page that Billy adores Sally and wants her to move in with him. Now, she's not sure about this, but Billy is. He even tells Sally he had the newspaper printed up a couple of weeks ago, well before asking her to move in. She's also worried about how Billy's kids will feel about it, but he says they like her. Sally is also worried about working and living together, but Billy says that's going to be fine, so she finally agrees to move in. Clare is with Holden Novak at the GCAC bar. They're doing their usual drink of Vespers, but then Clare wants shots. She wants to get drunk. She wants to cut loose. When Holden is like, "Slow down," she's like, "Don't babysit me." So he knows something's wrong and asks Clare about it. She tells him about Audra and Victor's dirty plot against her and Kyle. Holden warns Clare that Audra is trouble. Clare asks about his and Audra's time in LA. She thinks Audra is going to pull more stunts, but Holden says, "Just let karma finish her off." Clare tells Holden that he really doesn't know what she is capable of either, and that is true, because she has a very dark past herself. Audra walks up on them talking at the bar and pounces like she's ready to dig in her claws. On Thursday, September 4th, we have Nikki Newman giving Victor Night of Romance to show him how much she loves him since he's the one who's always doing special things for her. Meanwhile, Clare goes off on Audra at the GCAC bar. Clare's a little tipsy already, and she's got some things to say to that woman. I do wonder if Audra is going to add some details to the situation of what happened in France that Kyle left out, like the fact that he was on the bed with Audra and on top of her, and mostly undressed with just a towel on. Audra did say if Clare knew everything, she might not forgive him, so she may tell everything. Michael Baldwin gets an interesting offer on Thursday, and I wonder if it is to work for the Winters Company, or maybe Lauren Fenmore wants him to work at Fenmore's, or maybe it's something a little more minor like officiating Danny Romalotti and Christine Williams' upcoming wedding, which is supposed to be in October on Young and the Restless. On Friday, September 5th, Victor tells the family, "We are going to war." Now, if he announces that they are going to take down Jabot, we know that Nick Newman's willing to do that, but I'm not so sure that Nikki and Adam Newman will be on board. I doubt Clare will be unless she finds out Kyle was on top of Audra in that towel. But then again, maybe not, because she still likes Jack and Diane Jenkins. Also, Lily Winters tries to get the truth out of Cain Ashby. Lily really wants to know his agenda. I wonder if she figures out something is going on at Winters, and she may suspect him of having a hand in, because that is his next target. Phyllis Summers goes too far and may once again mess things up for herself. She will not accept that Cain is backing down, and she doesn't have a job there, and she was grilling Amanda Sinclair. But thankfully, she didn't give her a lot to go on. The week of September 8th through the 12th, Jack and Diane fear the worst for their son. Kyle is determined to prove himself to Clare by running Audra out of town. Kyle has zero chill and zero patience and isn't going to give Clare any space, because he thinks if she has space, she's going to have second thoughts and will break up with him. This has Diane and Jack very worried because they don't like when Kyle is plotting, as he has a tendency to go dark. Audra and Clare's big argument could result in more tea being spilled, maybe some blood, because Clare really wanted to slap Audra's face. I'm sure Holden is going to be stuck in the middle trying to keep them away from attacking each other physically. Also, in the matter of Audra and Holden, he's got that info about what went down with Tucker McCall and Audra in LA, that situation that Holden helped her out of. I'm wondering if he's going to spill those beans to help Clare take down Audra. I think it's all going to depend if she's saying nasty things to Holden during her fight with Audra. Then the gloves may come off. Michael gives an answer to the proposition that was presented to him. If you remember, Victor told Cain that he was going to release the info that Colin Atkinson had conned this woman and that she gave all her inheritance to him. Now, what Victor has is the will that shows that Colin inherited. That doesn't necessarily prove that Colin was running a scam. Plus, Colin's been dead for what, more than 6 months now? I don't think Cain's dad, who has been dead for a while, is going to be that big of a scandal that he inherited money from some woman. I mean, it kind of seems like the scandal would have died with him, and that was only seed money. You know, they made the rest of the money. Again, we'll see because Victor is continuing to pressure him, but Cain doesn't want to play ball with him. I'm also wondering exactly how Cain is planning to use AI against these companies. I also wonder if the Y&R writers know enough about AI to write a plot about it. Unless, of course, they asked AI to write the plot about AI, which would be pretty ironic. But it also seems like something mediocre that Josh Griffith would do. I also wonder if Tamara Braun's new character is going to tie into Cain's missing years outside of Genoa City. We're also going to see Phyllis doing damage control next week after her blunder. Young and Restless has been experiencing a dry spell when it comes to sexy scandals lately, but the soapy skies may be about to open up, and fans are beyond ready. While Audra's attempt to pseudo-seduce Kyle failed to serve up any actual sex or significant scandal, the good news is that the scheme may have laid the groundwork for some actual cheating that will steam up our screens. It's been so long that it was almost tough to recall when we last had a super soapy sex scandal on Young and Restless. In fact, Abby and Devin getting caught in the act by Chance and Amanda may have been the last genuinely juicy affair, and that was in 2022. Adam and Chelsea hooked up in Baltimore more recently, but that played as sad and random as opposed to a salacious romp. Happily, Young and Restless just teed up our best shot at another delightfully indecent diversion with Kyle's woefully mistimed marriage proposal to Clare. After he failed to read the room repeatedly, Kyle's lady love ran off into the night asking for time and space, which left things encouragingly ambiguous. Are they still together or like friends Ross and Rachel on a break? Either way, what happened next put all the pieces in place for Clare to lose her head and let loose. After running into Holden, who just happens to have abs to die for and a huge crush on her, Clare invited him to go and get drunk with her. Admitting to the hottie that she'd never had one Vesper too many, Clare, as she told Esther earlier, was feeling the urge to live dangerously after the disconcerting debacle with Kyle. We couldn't have been more thrilled to hear it, given that she'll almost certainly cross into said danger zone with Novak after hitting the bar. We predicted this twist previously and asked Soap's readers for their opinion. Should Clare cheat with Holden? While 47% of respondents thought that sex would be going too far, the majority, 53%, indicated that they were all for the soapy goodness, even if it was just one roll in the proverbial hay. Frankly, we're thirsty for some sexy scandal amid the desert of boring business drama on Young and Restless, and we hope to see Clare and Holden shake up the soap. Should they become an actual couple? Well, that we'll leave up to you. Vote! The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that Clare Newman might have a drunk driving accident in her future. Could Clare crash Grandma Nikki Newman's Ferrari and cause some chaos for the Newman clan? It's obvious that Clare isn't coping well with all the Kyle Abbott and Audra Charles drama, so we have to consider how far she might spin out. Clare recently decided to get drunk since she'd never been plastered before, but this feels like a disaster waiting to happen. Considering Nikki's history with alcoholism, it's strange that Clare would want to intentionally guzzle herself into a drunken stupor. We get why Clare would want to try and forget her troubles for a while, but boozing it up isn't the answer. That's especially true since Y&R spoilers say Clare's issues aren't going away anytime soon. Audra is bound to cause even more turmoil with her revenge plot, while Kyle causes turmoil of his own through his scheme to get Audra out of town. Despite Holden Novak's attempt to help Clare deal with all this, it may not do much good. For Clare, the only real comfort she can find may be at the bottom of as many Vesper glasses as she can handle. In other words, one drunk night could lead to another and another. This could turn into a regular thing for Clare and lead to her developing a drinking problem. If that's the case, it may not be long until Clare does something she's going to regret. That could include causing a drunk driving accident if that's the way Y&R writers want to take this storyline. Ever since Victor Newman gave Nikki that special Ferrari she'd always wanted, the show's consistently mentioned it in the dialogue. It feels like maybe that Ferrari could eventually become a crucial part of an upcoming storyline. If that's the case, there might be some scenario where Clare ends up behind the wheel of her grandma's fancy car. Nikki might call or text Clare and ask her to drive it somewhere without realizing her granddaughter is completely sloshed. Claire might land in the driver's seat anyway and cause a crash, so stay tuned for updates on any terrible news that might be coming up for her. The Young and the Restless spoilers suggest more shocking casting news for the CBS soap, as former Days of Our Lives alum Lucas Adams is set to join the show as the Noah Newman recast. The last time fans saw Sharon Newman and Nick Newman's son was from 2021 to 2023, when actor Rory Gibson, who just recently debuted as General Hospital's Michael Corinthos recast, was in the role. Noah took off to Europe with girlfriend Ali Abbott Nguyen, and while they have not been seen in Genoa City since, they have been mentioned multiple times within scenes. Prior to Gibson's Noah run, actor Robert Adamson was in the role from 2012 to 2018 and 2020. And before that, Luke Kleintank played the character from 2010 to 2011. A fun fact, this isn't the first time Adams has appeared in the Y&R. His first stint was in 2012, a one-episode run playing Wesley, a fan of singer Angelina Veneziano. The news of Adams' jump to GC is the third stunning casting announcement in just over a week for the CBS soap. In an unexpected plot twist, Lucas's former dual mom, Tamara Braun, is set to join the Y&R sometime in September. Braun will be playing a new character, Sienna Bell, someone who is linked to several other characters on Canvas. In addition, daytime drama vet Roger Howarth is debuting on the show in the fall, although as of this writing, his role remains hush-hush. Adams will feel a sense of familiarity not only with Braun on set, but also with former dual player Billy Flynn, who also just joined the Y&R this past spring as Cain Ashby recast. The Young and the Restless spoilers remind fans that Noah is a pivotal legacy role, and his return will have a major impact on storylines. With that said, will Allie come back to the little town as well, or is this an opportunity for Audra Charles to rekindle a romance with her ex? CDL is where it's at for the best Young and the Restless spoilers, news, and updates, so swing by often and make us your go-to source for the hottest Y&R intel around. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of September 8-12 reveal that Kyle Abbott will have a doomed plan, while Cain Ashby worries about blowing his last chance with Lily Winters. Phyllis Summers will also do some damage control, so here's what Y&R fans can look forward to. For starters, Kyle's scheme could backfire spectacularly if he's not careful. Although Kyle will hope to drive Audra Charles out of Genoa City, his plot seems destined to fail. Kyle may end up in Audra's orbit way too much for Clare Newman's taste. There's also the matter of how vengeful Audra is, so any moves Kyle makes could cost him big time. Y&R fans can't forget that Kyle signed Victor Newman's contract and will have to pay $5 million in addition to leaving town if he breaks Claire's heart. By trying to get rid of Audra, Kyle could make some huge mistakes and set the stage for his own GC banishment instead. In the meantime, let's talk about Phyllis, since she'll have to do some damage control. After Phyllis goes too far somehow, she'll have to dial it back, and perhaps convince Cain that she can clean up the mess. Of course, Cain will be dealing with another mess of his own. Victor will keep pressuring Cain to team up against Jabot using the AI software that Cain's team developed, so Cain will remain in a tight spot. Cain prefers to be in the driver's seat when it comes to scheming, so he'll try to regain control of the situation as best as he can. In the midst of all this, Cain will worry about blowing his last chance with Lily. Although Lily hasn't agreed to give Cain one yet, he'll hold out hope for their future and will keep fighting for the next chapter of their love story. As for Victor and Jack Abbott, the tension between them will escalate in the coming episodes. Nikki Newman could land at the center of some heated showdowns as the Newman-Abbott feud gets even worse. Meanwhile, Daniel Romalotti Jr. will find it increasingly difficult to fight his growing feelings for Tessa Porter. Tessa has been leaning on Daniel more and more lately, so could things take a sizzling turn with a kiss? If so, that could bring concerns for Mariah Copeland or even Sharon Newman if one of them witnesses a close moment. Speaking of Sharon, she may find herself frustrated since her potential reunion with Nick Newman seems to have stalled. Is Nick serious about restarting this romance, or just stringing Sharon along? Summer's potential return will be joyous in more ways than one. It's been 4 months since Summer's departure on The Young and the Restless. Although she's got a new life in Milan, the door is always open for a return. When and if Summer returns, she'll have a huge surprise. Prior to Summer's exit, she broke up with Chance. It was heartbreaking for some Ants fans, who are left wondering what could have been. Although Summer has a new man in Italy, she'll always have reminders of Chance, one of which might carry his legacy. On Reddit, a fan theory speculates that Summer may be pregnant or has given birth to Chance's child. Summer returns from Milan with Chance's baby, and he continues the Chancellor line, one fan suggested. I like the Summer idea. A new Chancellor baby named after his dad. Oh, they didn't need to kill off Chance, one viewer replied. I'd be cool with Summer coming back pregnant and carrying on the Chancellor family line. That could be interesting, another fan commented. While some Ants fans love the idea of a secret baby, others are skeptical of the idea. One reason is because Chance was told he wouldn't be able to have children. The other reason is because Summer and Chance were hardly intimate before their breakup. However, Y&R likes to retcon stories, and they could switch with Summer and Chance. Although Chance couldn't have children, in a surprise twist, he and Summer could have conceived during a secret rendezvous. If Summer does return with Chance's baby, it'll be a shock for the Newmans, but it'll be joy for Nina and Jill, who'll now have a little part of Chance still with them. Summer and Chance's baby will keep the Chancellor name alive, but also might play a role in the ongoing business war. Since Summer has the Chancellor heir, she'll have a say in who should take over the family's company.